Bloober Team is back at it once again, this time remaking the original Silent Hill. So far, this is all we know about the Silent Hill remake. There was a title card coming out of the fog with Akira Yamaoka's theme song to Silent Hill playing. That's it. That's all we know so far. There's rumors going around that it's going to come out sometime in 2027, so there's still time to course correct before we end up with the stinker on our hands. Many of gaming's loudest voices in the internet hellscape we call gaming discourse decried the choice of Blooper Team, as they're often referred to, citing their past work of varying quality to be unfit to touch the sacred franchise known as Silent Hill. Yeah, I mean, it would just taint the memories of that one time they watched that Let's Play of Silent Hill 2. Sacred memories. Now, I too was skeptical of the choice of Bloober taking over my most favorite franchise, Silent Hill, but I was willing to lend them the benefit of the doubt only because they were very receptive to feedback and criticism. Two qualities you're gonna need if you're gonna take over the Silent Hill franchise in this shitty fan base.
And also, she looks like an average woman these days. This is how average women dress. Back then, women didn't dress like this. Only like type of whorish, slutty dress was only sluts who would do that, and you know, that was part of the lore, and I think people should point that out.
What I do is just like you know what I mean, like
After playing through the remake several times now and just admiring the beautiful design work and the attention to the small details, all the apprehensions I had about Bloober taking over the franchise started to subside. It was a good game, no less, great in some spots, but there was still room for improvement. A recent interview with PC Gamer leads with a quote from Jack Zeba, the director of Bloober's newest survival horror, Chronos. Jack reflected on how difficult it was for Bloober to work on the Silent Hill 2 remake because fans were constantly telling them that they would destroy the legacy of the franchise, and that he was proud of the work that they did, and that, quote, "we have proved people wrong." So that's nice. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here, Jack. There's still a lot more room for improvement on how you could have handled the Silent Hill 2 remake. You may have proven some of the skeptics and critics out there wrong, but that's only due to your past work setting such a low bar. We didn't really have that much faith in you to begin with if you didn't recognize. You're not gonna make the perfect remake unless you start looking inward, looking back at the Silent Hill 2 remake and recognizing where some things went wrong. And that's what I'm here to do. Now, before I get into my wish list of all the things I want to see in the Silent Hill remake, let's take a look back to the past attempts of trying to remake the original Silent Hill. Oh, there was a demake, there was a movie, a reimagining. Yeah, we're gonna talk about them all.
What is this? I just don't get it. It's like this is all some kind of bad dream.
As some of you might already be aware by now, this is not the first attempt at remaking the original Silent Hill. The first attempt was a slideshow demake for the Game Boy Advance called Play Novel Silent Hill, which exclusively released in Japan, but it has since been fan translated if you want to experience a unique what-if scenario of the original game, with some different character perspectives. For example, you get to see the story from Sybil Bennett's point of view. By the way, there's an extremely silly chapter that would allow you to play as an exclusive character to the play novel named Andy, who was Harry Mason's neighbor and Cheryl's friend. He sneaks into Harry's Jeep and tags along with the Mason brood into Alessa's darkest dream. What's strange is that you could only play Andy's chapters by connecting your Game Boy Advance to the internet with some sort of link cable and downloading his 4 chapters characters to the flash memory, which, by the way, would erase itself after you turned off the Game Boy Advance. Andy's wacky Silent Hill Day Out has never been dumped, making it a piece of lost media. I would love to see the play novel included as a bonus unlockable with Andy's quest restored. Hell, if the Chrono Cross HD remaster can dust off Radical Dreamers nearly 30 years later, I'm sure Bloober could dig up a ROM of a Game Boy Advance game, no problem. No Andy's left behind. Even though the original Silent Hill established the name and laid the groundwork for the rest of the series, it's probably the least recognizable to your average consumer in a cultural impact sort of way. In terms of iconic monsters or plot points, it's greatly overshadowed by Silent Hill 2 in nearly every regard. Now, if you were to ask a random person off the street if they know what Silent Hill is, they would more than likely first cite the 2006 movie adaptation by the same name.
Filth and lies!
Now, to its credit, the movie does retain some of the key points of the original game. For example, the plot is essentially the story about a parent wandering into Silent Hill to look for their lost daughter, and there are some incredibly faithful recreations of the camera work from the game, such as this twisting overhead angle in this corridor during the first transition into the nightmare. There are also some genuinely clever moments, like when Rose here is trying to commit directions from a map to memory to navigate the town, or how the nurse demons react to light and sound. It's very accurate to the feel of the game, and it's quite the nail-biting scene that doesn't get enough credit. But in my opinion, the movie strays too far from the source material, and it changes aspects like gender swapping Harry Mason for an original character named Rose Da Silva, which, mind you, Rhoda Mitchell did the best she could with the slop script she was given, so no hate from me. And then there's things like the absence of snowfall, which was replaced by falling ashes from an actively burning mine. In the movie, the town of Silent Hill is no longer located in the state of Maine. It was relocated to West Virginia and inspired directly by an actual ghost mining town, Centralia, Pennsylvania, which still has an active underground mine fire to this very day. Now, Roger Avery, the scriptwriter of the film, cited Centralia as the root inspiration for the look and events that take place in the movie. However, many people still conflate this information with the inspiration for the game, believing the game was also directly inspired by Centralia, Pennsylvania, which it was not. As a result, this movie has caused untold damage to the perception of what the games were actually about by association. Perhaps the greatest strike against the film is that it also heavily borrowed aspects from the sequel, Silent Hill 2, by including personal demonic manifestations such as the lying figure and Pyramid Head, both of which were supposed to have been born from the mind of protagonist James Sunderland, i.e., they don't belong here at all. It's not that the director Christoph Gans wasn't aware of these details, it's just that he didn't care.
So we decide that Harry Mason will become Rose. Sometimes the fan can be shocked to hear that, because they know so well Silent Hill through the game. But I'm myself a gamer, I'm a true follower of the Silent Hill mythology, and a game is a game, and a film is a film.
But hey, not giving a shit about the details is the only consistent thread in the so-called video game adaptation line of movies. And with the upcoming return to Silent Hill, it looks as if this tradition will continue.
The second game is the most adult of all the Silent Hill. It's a story of James Sunderland. He has lost his beloved bride, and he decided to go back to Silent Hill to find her. And he realized that basically the town has changed.
I can't believe this story you're telling me. It's macabre.
It's like Ben Templesmith gets me. I too feel like I'm dying inside. Dying because I forgot to mention Silent Hill DX, the Japanese Java exclusive mobile phone game. How are you gonna make a retrospective without including that one, you phony? We're not gonna include that one. The second remake of the original Silent Hill, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, could more accurately be described as a reimagining more so than a one-to-one remake. Now, the bones of the original are still in place. You still play as Harry Mason, who ventures out to Silent Hill and loses his daughter along the way.
Cheryl! Cheryl!
But nearly everything else has changed. The gimmick in Shattered Memories is the psychology system. The game plays you as much as you play it.
I'm glad you came.
Depending on the choices you make within the game world, it dynamically alters the appearance of characters, the environment, the enemies, as well as altering the pathways you take, the story outcomes and endings. I'm one of the internet's only defenders of this game, as I see it to be an incredibly ambitious project, albeit with some flaws, such as the enemy chase sequences with the game's lone enemy, the Rorschachs. Overall, I would say the positives outweigh the negatives on this one, and although I don't expect the Silent Hill remake to incorporate its own sophisticated psychology system, it would be cool to see some more dynamic elements added to the experience, even if it's just different dialogue or actions that influence the game's ending.
You okay, sir? Not a good night to be out and about.
I'm looking for my daughter. I need your help.
Car stuck in the snow? Need help de-thawing your windshield?
It's my daughter. She's missing.
Another thing I truly appreciated about Shattered Memories is that it gave a deeper insight into the relationship between Cheryl and Harry Mason. In the original, the game doesn't really provide too many details about what the Mason household was like. You know next to nothing about Harry's deceased wife, Jody Mason, who only appears in the intro cutscene and is referenced slightly in dialogue a couple of times.
Your wife, she's here with you?
She died 4 years ago. Now it's just me and my daughter.
Maybe Harry's search for Cheryl in the remake could be portrayed as also seeking his last connection to his beloved Jody. Also, consider including Shattered Memories Harry Mason as an unlockable costume. Why not? This next segment is what I consider to be the most essential ingredients needed to make the perfect Silent Hill remake. Bloober, start taking notes. Take it from your #1 stan. I believe in ya. If you follow these instructions, you're gonna have a 4 million seller on your hands this time. Maybe not. I mean, Silent Hill fans don't really buy games, but you'll have my support. You'll have at least one.
Wait a second, I'm just a tourist. I came here for a vacation. So maybe you can tell me what's going on.
One aspect of the Silent Hill 2 remake that I missed from the original was the lack of an introduction movie. In the first 2 Silent Hill games, they were front-loaded with a series of animated cutscenes which acted as a prologue of sorts to give brief glimpses into the lives of the characters before the events of the game take place. The introduction movie establishes a bit of much-needed normalcy to contrast against the nightmares that you experience within Silent Hill, and it also helps establish that there's a living world going on outside of the town. Now, when I think about the first Silent Hill, that damn mandolin strumming is the first thing that comes to mind. Do not cut out the opening line of "the fear of blood. It tends to create fear for the flesh," as the camera zooms in on a photo of Alyssa Gillespie. That's too essential to leave behind. I don't want just another boring Last of Us start the game menu. Make an actual introduction. Thank you. I believe one aspect of the Silent Hill 2 remake that both fans and critics alike can all agree on was the choice of including a robust amount of accessibility features. It was quite impressive to see the sheer amount of fine-tuning Bloober allowed players to have over the look, feel, and control of their experience with the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, I prefer more of an atmospheric-focused experience with minimal UI elements and the removal of annoying things like QTE prompts and those Gears of War red damage vignettes. But in the modern gaming era, simply allowing players to toggle elements until they've catered the entire experience to their satisfaction isn't going far enough to please everyone. That's why I propose a brand new way to play Silent Hill by not playing at all. They should create a new mode called Taurus Mode. When players start Taurus Mode, they will be redirected to a video of a Konami employee playing through the entire game with frequent interjections to objectively explain what's going on in the story at all times. In this moment, Harry picks up a health drink. In this moment, Harry uses a health drink. In this moment, Harry examines a lever on the bridge. He uses the key that he found earlier. In this moment, Harry objectively lowers the drawbridge so he can proceed forward through town. In this modern era, the average gamer just doesn't have the time or patience to ponder all the supernatural aspects at play. It's just better if an official source explains away all the mystery, so there's no more room for annoying things like personal interpretation or discussion. Now I'm about to warn you, this next scene is very layered and cryptic. There's a lot of different elements going on between Harry and this new character we're about to meet. In this scene, Harry explains to the man that he is looking for his daughter.
I'm sorry.
And now they establish that she's still missing. I know this is complex stuff, but please try and follow along. This is a small request, but it would be really cool if the sound font within the remake maintained that weird industrial quality to them. I always thought the loud sound that plays when you hit start was startling. Just keeping that would do a lot to set a terrifying tone from the onset. For lack of a better explanation, I also like the strange breathing sounds when cycling through the menus. One aspect of Harry's character that was rarely explored was his background as an author.
I'm Harry Mason. I love my daughter very much. I live in Silent Hill. I write for a living crap, pretty much.
Conspiracy thrillers? Murder mysteries?
Sometimes, whatever they pay me for. I work for hire. My stuff is big in libraries. Never sees hardcover.
In the original Silent Hill, Harry is writing down meticulous notes about his experiences within Silent Hill as sort of a warning for anyone who stumbles upon them. This is evidenced later on in Silent Hill 3, where a couple of Harry's memos end up being discovered by Heather. Since it looks like you're kickstarting a whole remake series of the original 4 games, it would just be cool to discover all of Harry's notes if Konami ever decides to greenlight a Silent Hill 3 remake. Now, I'm not expecting the remake to fully abandon the third-person over-the-shoulder perspective, but I'm holding out hope that Bloober maintains some of the unique camera angles from the original, such as the first transition to the other world. On occasion, I would just like to see the camera fix to highlight points of interest, establish scale, or to instill a sense of dread by taking away control from the player. Bloober does have experience with implementing semi-fixed perspectives like they did with the medium, so I hope they use that experience to implement fixed perspectives in the remake.
Jack taught me to accept my condition. Of all my foster parents, he was the only one who saw it as a gift and not a curse.
As much as I enjoyed the Silent Hill 2 remake during the first playthrough, returning to the game on subsequent playthroughs, it became apparent how many enemy encounters you're forced into. In town, it's a much more manageable affair as you can have plenty of room to run away and get back to exploring. Gradually, as you progress through town and start entering the interiors, you'll start to be ambushed relentlessly by mannequin demons, which, I'll admit, were effective in making me jump at the start, but as you move through the game, these encounters grow from scary to tiresome due to their frequency. By the time you reach the Lakeview Hotel, you'll have seen all of their tricks. I think it would be far more effective to make enemy encounters less frequent and a bit more randomized to increase the tension. I would also like to see some more dynamic enemy behaviors, beyond just pursue player object, attack player object. Maybe have enemies attack one another, or roam through corridors and disappear without explanation. These shadow babies in the original would be a good test case. Don't force enemy gauntlets upon the player without any way to escape, with the exception of boss fights. The Red Room in the Labyrinth really soured what used to be a chilling exploration into the unknown. It felt like a modern action horror consideration, more so than a survival horror one. Pacing can be very difficult, but I believe you need to give the players enough space to let their mind wander and gradually feel safe and secure before you strip it away from them. Many criticize Bloober for taking a different direction for some of the actors and how they delivered their lines in the Silent Hill 2 remake.
Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway?
Anyway, I'm glad you're alive.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway?
For lack of a better explanation, they were a bit more grounded in reality and expressed more of their emotions through movement and subtle facial expressions, rather than just through the dialogue itself. It's not a terrible portrayal by any means, but it didn't capture the same amateur local community theater acting of the original, which may have been an impossible task for a series of trained actors. The original Silent Hill has less of a dramatic tone overall, and more of a weird, stuck inside a dream vibe going for it. All the voice acting is delivered with a detached staccato rhythm.
You from around here? Why don't you tell me what happened?
Wait a second, I'm just a tourist. I came here for a vacation. I just got here.
The characters don't exactly play off of one another in a natural conversational sort of way. It's more of like, here's a line, pause. Play line 2.mp3, pause.
Harry, this whole thing's been a major blow to you. You need to rest.
Sybil,
The demon is awakening, spreading those wings.
Dahlia Gillespie.
This bizarre stitching of the dialogue serves that dreamlike atmosphere within the OG. I think it would be much better if Bloober avoided hiring any celebrity talent or trained actors and just hired some amateur voice talent to play some of the roles. Just follow Sega's lead and hire the most bottom barrel talent that money can buy. YouTubers. Think about it. Yang Ye would be a perfect fit for this role.
But the power we could draw now will be very weak. Almost nothing. Unless we get the other half of the soul.
The darkness of the original Silent Hill just felt darker, if that makes any sense. The shallow draw distance may have been a limitation imposed upon the developers due to the PlayStation 1 hardware, but it also made you feel as if you were about to be swallowed whole by the darkness. Some of the terror of navigating through Silent Hill came from not being able to see what's in your surroundings. The stress came from not being able to visually identify the threat before you, and sometimes you could only hear the animalistic cries before they strike you down. It's harder to capture this disorientation when you're working in a medium of high definition. So I propose you weaken the power of Harry's flashlight. 200 lumens max. Just enough to see what's within his bubble. Also, find a way to make the radio more useful. Just take away the flashlight at some point. Have Harry have to navigate by sound alone at some points. Make it dark. One of the biggest disappointments about the Silent Hill 2 remake was that it was missing the full arsenal of weaponry from the original game. Notably, the absence of the hyper spray and Pyramid Head's great knife was demoted to just a stage key. There also comes a point in the game where James is forced to ditch the wooden plank for the iron pipe, with no way to get it back. Now, with the exception of the chainsaw that you can pick up in the New Game Plus, James did not have any alternate melee weapons to swap out. Now, Now, the original Silent Hill has a wonderful variety of weapons, ranging from a kitchen knife to a katana. They even included an alien laser gun called the Hyper Blaster, which was based on a real accessory Konami produced. Too long, didn't listen, don't cuck us on the weapons this time. And finally, you gotta include that blooper reel, no pun intended. It's nice to have a bit of levity to contrast against the terrifying nightmare we just navigated through. There's just something about the end credits blooper reel that puts everyone's mind at ease. Like, see, look, all the actors are having a good time, no one died. Believe it or not, Silent Hill isn't as serious as it's often portrayed to be. I mean, for crying out loud, there's a UFO ending included in almost every one of the mainline games. Stuff like this is why Silent Hill is so iconic. You'd be making a huge mistake if you left this one out. Static's a good thing, right? Maybe I should wrap this all up. I've been Hikiko. Bloober, if you've been watching, follow my lead, and you're gonna have another hit on your hands. To everyone else, thanks so much for watching. Leave me a thumb if you wouldn't mind. Subscribe if you want to see more Silent Hill videos. We got Silent Hill F on the horizon, and you know I'm gonna be there for that. And consider patreon.com/Hikiko. I've got a couple more Silent Hill videos. Cover the remake, covered Short Message. I also got a whole thing about Deadly Premonition, a Silent Hill inspired series, also my favorite. So yeah, check me out. I can't stick around. They're getting closer.